I love that. It's hilarious.
Hey, everybody. It's Naked Friday.
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy Podcast, a Washington football podcast by fans for fans. With your hosts, Jesse Martin.
You want to play what? Okay. Say hello to my little friend.
John Taylor.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
And Keith Gray.
The King, your Majesty.
And now here's your host, John Taylor.
Hey, that's me. And guess what? I unmuted my mic so you couldn't hear my actual introduction there, which was usually pretty corny. You probably were waiting for it all week, so forget about it. You're not going to see it because it's fucking Naked Friday right here on the Bleeding Burgundy Podcast. Man, we got a full house today. We got a full boat. First thing, right off the bat, we got a special guest, our friend George Carmi. Now, George, welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy Podcast right here on the Bleeding Burgundy Podcast. We like to give all of our guests 3 seconds to promote whatever it is that they want, so go.
First of all, awesome intro, man. Freaking out to pay a cover to walk into this place. Jesus. Awesome. And then I'm George Carter. I'm George Carter from Command the Mic Podcast and Full Press Coverage. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Over here to my left, I guess, as you're looking at the screen right there, is my good friend Jesse Martin, who is now what? You've lost 50 pounds and hands up. Who thinks he's actually bulimic? I'm thinking he's going out to eating everything he wants, and then heading to the bathroom and throwing it all back up before he goes home.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah, I
what it
learned a trick from an old friend, girlfriend from high school.
Okay. To my right there is our good friend from UK. Scotty there. Scott, man, what the hell is up with that sun poisoning you've got going on there? My goodness, look at you.
I know. Dude, you're glistening. You're glistening.
Still on holiday, and still burning. So it's all good.
You're in your unair conditioned hotel room just off the east coast of Africa, right? Or off the
correct.
West coast.
Yeah, just correct. Yeah.
All right. And answering the question, whatever happened to Spuds McKenzie? Here's our friend Keith Gray.
What's up, guys? It's been a while. I missed you guys, but I kind of had to take a vacation, from all football and and just kind of get back to the family life, and to the gym, but anyways, I didn't lose 50 pounds. Way to steal my glory there, Jesse. You effing loser. But anyways, this here, it's just because it's real hot in the house. The wife decided to cut off the AC, so don't mind me.
All right, well, we're not going to mind you.
Okay.
I like the sunglasses.
Thank you.
So since you haven't been paying attention to jack shit, let me go ahead and fill you in. Commander's training camp has started.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, we've already gotten all the way to August. So I really didn't see anything today. I've been busier than shit. So why don't y'all fill me in? George, what happened today?
So today was a rough day for the offense. They had a tough time getting down the field. There were some, shouts about, hey, guys, as long as we cross the 40-yard line today, we should be okay. Offensive line getting beat up by the defensive line. Wow. It got chippy a little bit. I'm sure you guys heard that. Benjamin St-Juste wouldn't pick up Cole Turner. That kind of irked Terry McLaurin, who's the leader that he is, walked on the field, started yelling at your teammate, pick him up. A lot of chippiness going on. I think someone messed with Chase Young and Montez Sweat backed him up. So, it's day 9. If there wasn't any chippiness, I'd be kind of worried. We do want to see that kind of that pep going in. The other concern is injuries are starting to add up a little bit. Manuel Forbes kind of had a little tweak in his groin. Hopefully that's not a big issue. I believe Curtis Hodges had something going on, and Logan Thomas had a calf, kind of a tweak there too. So hopefully we'll hang tough for a couple more weeks. We'll see how it goes.
I will say this: that is the most football discussion we've had on this show in probably the last 8 months.
Happy to ride it. Perfect.
You guys know how optimistic I was last week, and I am fully pumping the brakes right now.
Pumping the brakes.
Wow.
Yeah. This offensive line is scaring me.
This is the Jesse that I know.
Yeah. The manic depressive.
Yeah, you should have been here last week. I was all gung ho. I'm like I was like 13-game win. We got it, and we got it in the bag.
I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking.
No, that was
listen. We are listen. All right. We've all heard it before. We've seen it all over. Well, this is the best defensive line in the league. And yeah, it may be, okay, but they are just getting the crap kicked out of them every single play. And it's really, really starting to kind of wear thin. And that's why you're seeing a lot of bickering and fights going back and forth. I mean, Sam Cosmi got into it. Nick Gates got kicked off the field for throwing a football at one of the defensive linemen. Chase Young is it was like a third string O lineman, and he didn't want any of Chase Young today. He kind of ran away, and that does not look good. So yeah, and you have and I thought what St. Juice did today was kind of lame. You hit a guy and knock him on the ground, and then you're going to swell up on top of him. Come on, man, get that crap
What
out
I
of
understand, as soon as Terry yelled at him, he backed down and apologized 15 times. So there's
the fact of the matter is, what are you going to flex over your own teammate for? That's low hanging fruit right there, in my opinion.
Agree. Scotty, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I know that Cosme was kicking off. I can't remember who it was, but it was.
He body slammed someone today.
Yeah, he did. And it was I don't know who it was, the defensive lineman. They've been getting very chippy,
Mathis.
obviously. Mathis, that's exactly who it was. Gates yesterday fighting with Cody Barton. It's not looking good. And you could look at it two ways. You could say, as you pointed out there, Jesse, is it that the defense is that good that it's making the offensive line look bad? Or is it the other way around? Or is it the fact that this offensive line is bad and we haven't invested in it as much as I think we should have invested in it? There are still free agents out there. And I think the thing that scares me the most is I listened to Ron's presser just before we got on here, and he was saying that he's happy with the depth that he's got and he's happy with the O-line that he's got. I mean, for me, you have to address that left guard already. I mean, we all know, looking at it, Sadiq Charles is going to get injured, and Kel Surprise, we're 3 days into pads and Sadiq Charles is injured.
Well, listen, I've been telling y'all from the beginning.
Sadiq Charles, I've had enough.
Sadiq Charles wasn't starting the year. It's just not happening.
Look, I know we're going third string offensive lineman, which to us means October starter. That's usually what that means. And honestly, I am done with the Sadiq Charles. Let's give him every chance in the book, man. This guy, even when he's healthy, I don't care if he got hurt in his first year. He came back and he sucked. And then he came back again and he sucked. And right now, what do you know? He sucks. I'm about done with him. To me, the offensive line is the biggest Achilles heel that this team has. And there's not even any question. It is as glaring as can be. And I don't see any reason why right now, if we're going into week 1 with the Cardinals, why they don't just load up the middle like the Lions did last year and just bum rush the shit out of us. See what we can do to that rookie quarterback. The best news is, the Cardinals defense is not that great. So
that's true. And this may be naive of me, but I'm not worried about Sam Howell. I'm worried about that offensive line.
I'm with you.
I'm worried about keeping Sam Howell upright. That's what's worrying me. I mean, do you go out there now and say, well, we've got a little bit of money left. Let's go and look at a Dalton Reisner, for example, who went to Minnesota to try and get paid, and obviously they didn't sign him. So he either wants too much money or he wasn't a fit there. But he's an ideal left guard straight out of the box who's got the experience, to play in this league. Or do you put Nick Gates back to left guard and bring up a Tyler Larson or a Stromberg? I don't know.
Let it go, Carmi. Go ahead, Carmi.
Yeah, to jump on that, I kind of was doing a little research and listening to some podcasts as well. That's the one concern. We do have long-term investment. We have Ricky Stromberg and Braden Daniels and a couple other people like that. But the problem is, you can only keep so many offensive linemen, right? So let's say you keep him 10. So you have our starting 5. We have Chris Paul, Ricky Stromberg, Braden Daniels, Cornelius Lucas, Tyler Lawson. We already have all the maximum players we can put on the roster. So are we going to put one of those and kind of cut them or release them out to the free agent pool, or are we going to try to stash away in the practice squad? I agree with you, Scotty. I wish we invested more in the offensive line. Latavius, Quan Martin, I want him to do I think he's going to be a fantastic player, but then that second round, Steve Avila from a TCU could have got a guard there or something along the lines of there to kind of build up our offensive line. But I am concerned. It's not code red for me yet, but I am worried. Just like Jesse, I was at training camp. I saw Sam Howell. He actually looks pretty damn good, to be honest with you. We don't have the offensive line. If you can't protect the offensive line, we know what's going to happen. And we've seen it for years. Patrick Ramsey, for Jason Campbell. We've seen it for years and years and years. We know what's going to happen. It's kind of worrisome.
Last year was as bad as I've seen it since Jason, or since Ramsey. Since Ramsey.
Crazy. Yeah, it was awful. Couldn't even do anything.
Ramsey was literally like a jailbreak every play, and last year was just as bad. It was you had no faith that you could even get the pass off. I think it was you that posted the video of Wentz throwing the ball in the dirt in the end zone.
Yeah, I was right there. That was my video. You're exactly right. It was embarrassing. Yeah.
Well, all right. So Keith, what do you think about all of this? And if you say it in a Macho Man voice, I will give you extra credit.
Well, if we would have went with what I said we should have done in the draft, we wouldn't have had to worry about an offensive line because we should have drafted Bijan Robinson.
Jesus Christ.
Some great insight right there. Good job, man.
Yeah, there we go. He's been obsessed with Bijan for.
Are you reading bronzer, by the way, Keith? Or no?
With that guy, he just speak. Excuse me.
Are you wearing bronzer?
He is wearing bronzer. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
No, I do. I've been seeing a lot of sun lately. Okay, and
nice.
I get it. Suntan lotion, but it is a bronzer. Yes.
My man's been cutting his quarter acre on his John Deere, in the slowest gear for his neighbor. All right. So yeah, the offensive line is clearly, they're going to get what this music kind of reminds you of. They're going to get that unless they're very careful.
Look, I am going to say this one last thing about the offensive line. And to pat myself on the back a little bit more. JP Finley has said a couple times today or yesterday that he's talked to multiple defensive linemen, and they have said that Chris Paul is the best guard on that on the team, and he's very hard to move. What I'm wondering is he athletic enough to get out, jump out on those screens? I think he's going to be a good guard. I really do. I just don't know if he has the athleticism to be able to run out there. And I wonder if that's what the coaching staff was thinking when trying Charles out there first. I don't know.
Well, to roll off of that, I've been seeing a lot this week about the quick game. They've been running a lot of quick game, trying to get a lot of quick game.
I don't think they're going to have a choice.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Last year, how often did I say after every one of our games last year, why don't we start throwing faster plays, man? Why don't we try to do something other than what keeps getting blown up? So I'm encouraged by that, and that I don't think Bieniemy is as stupid as Scott Turner, and we'll notice this, that the offensive line is bad. But just to kind of reverse a little bit, I've been hearing kind of decent things about Cosmi and how he's been playing against Daron Payne. So it's the left guard position, it's the right tackle position, it's the left tackle position, and man, oh man,
I haven't heard really many bad things about Wiley so far. I don't know, George. Have you heard any? I think it's been a little bit quiet on the Wiley front.
Yeah, everything I've heard is the right side's holding up pretty well. The left side's more of a concern, and I agree with you guys. Like, I love Charles Leno. I think he's a great, great steady presence there. But I'm worried. He's 31 years old. If he misses a game or two, like that. Starting left tackle in our division, we have a great defensive line against the Eagles and the Cowboys. Who's going to be that left tackle? Cornelius Lucas. I kind of feel uncomfortable about that, so I'm worried. I hope he can hold up.
I'll tell you what, Charles Leno, I know you're watching, so just let me go ahead and give you one word for the day. Ready? Vasectomy. That's 4 of them, right? You want
to watch pumping out them kids, man.
All right. Okay, so let's move along a little bit here. Now, Terry, you said had a bit of a skirmish today with St. Juice. St. Juice is beating him up. Frankly, I kind of expect the defense to beat this offense up a little bit. They should have better days. They're more experienced. They've got more veterans out there. They're not new to their system. So I'm I don't like what St. Juice did, and I am very happy to see that Terry jumped up like that, expressed some, really visible leadership as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and then Bieniemy kind of got on Terry a little bit, and Terry snapped back at Bieniemy today. He is like, "Hey, listen, you can't do that shit. You can't do that to your own teammate." Mm-hmm. So I know things are, it's day 9, pads are on, they're going harder than they have gone in a very, very long time. I mean, listen, you had Club J, and in the first couple of years of Rivera. Listen, Rivera was trying to help the injury front because a lot of players
got cancer too. Don't forget, he didn't want to be out in the sun.
Yeah. Well, that's true too. but they're going hard and they're going longer than they have practiced before. And I think this is Bieniemy's doing, and he's getting them prepared for that fourth quarter when they get run down. And I like it. I love it. I'm glad. But things are getting a little bit snippy, man. But the defense is working the offense, and it's not close.
And Jesse, one thing that sorry.
No, go ahead, George.
What happened to my picture there? But don't forget, last year my son, he runs his training camp just like I did. Everything at its own pace, how you're supposed to go. Get back, look at the game film, find out how we're supposed to do things better for the next time. Norv out.
Go ahead, George.
I was just going to say, just kind of piggybacking on what you talked about how the practice has been going longer. What I've been hearing recently, and Jesse, I'm not sure if you heard it yet, but basically they're simplifying the practices. So instead of having like 7 or 8 different types of workouts throughout the practice, they're simplifying it down like 4 or 5 and prolonging them and kind of like really fine tuning all the details, which is fantastic. I'd rather do things the right way than instead of doing things, in volume. So I like that. So we'll work on that for now. It's good.
Yeah, 100%.
It seems like an expansive playbook. It seems like they're really running a lot of different things. So, yeah, I'm glad for that. Shorten down
and the amount of plays that they're running, too, is double of what they've done before.
Get the execution right. I'm all about that. Keith, you haven't said anything, but you damn sure look good. I got to say. What you need is an oiler.
Just someone rubbing him the whole time.
Right, just a little Cabana boy in there.
First of all, you got to do it in steps. So this season I'm bronzing. Next season I'll be doing full blown oil.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
If you follow Scott's skin conditioning plan there, look at him. I mean, his nose looks like it is an actual incandescent light bulb.
I tell you what, John, you're right, mate. Because the only gym I know is my boss, so that's fair enough.
Well, there you go.
I ain't working out, mate.
It's not that, man. It's just honestly. You look like you've got makeup on. All right, so move along. All right, where do we want to go next when we're talking about training camp? I mean,
we're on the offense, so might as well stay with the offense before we get to the good part.
I do have an interesting question that I haven't heard anything discussed about. But okay, if we're going to stay on the offense, please go right ahead.
Yeah, no, Sam Howell. We touched on it a little bit earlier. The interviews, how people are talking about him. I have not been to training camp this year. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it out there, but I do look at a lot, and I do see you get all these mixed signals from everybody. You got the media saying one thing, but you got other people, fans out there that are saying that, oh my God, he's so awesome. I think it's probably a mix between the two. But what I am not hearing is I'm not hearing that he's throwing a whole bunch of balls in the dirt like Heineke and Wentz did last year. I'm hearing that he's throwing on target. His timing's pretty daggone good. His footwork's pretty good. Now, if you can just get the time to throw the ball, I think we're going to be okay with him. But it goes back to the offensive line. Are they going to be able to keep him upright enough? But listen, man, we got to know this is going to be a run first team. It has to be. It has to be with that offensive line. And Ryan Robinson and Gibson are, from all reports, are doing a really good job.
Unless you call him Gibby, then he doesn't.
Not as good as if it would have been Bijan Robinson, but I'm just saying.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Hey, you can hear Keith step to the mic.
George, you want to comment? Piggyback off that?
Yeah, man. So I luckily I got to camp so far one time. I'm gonna try to go next week. I will say that I was impressed by Sam Howell. Was he like a world beater? No, he's got some growing pains. But what I liked about it was he could do everything. He really could. He was accurate. He threw with anticipation. He threw with the intention of yards after catch. His wide receivers were catching the ball and running down the field, which was awesome. And what I liked about it was he could throw with some zip. He definitely could throw with power, but he also could throw with touch. So I think he does I don't think he has any physical limitations. I think it's going to be, will he have time in the pocket? That's kind of what I'm more concerned about. I'm more worried about, can he read the defenses? Is he going to have that intelligence about him because he doesn't have a lot of experience? And then is he going to have time? I think if he does have time, he'll dice people up. I think he actually does. It doesn't look like the inaccurate Carson Wentz we saw last year. It doesn't look like the slow velocity Taylor Heineke we saw last year. He can do it, but physically, we'll see if he can do it in the real game time.
we had the one short window last year of 11 completions against the Cowboys, right? Mm-hmm. And one drop that Terry had right dead in his hands and probably dropped it because he was so surprised that it was thrown out in front of him.
Jahan dropped one too, didn't he?
Right. Jahan dropped one too. But the fact of the matter is the accuracy, I love seeing that continue into training camp. And because that right there shows me it doesn't make any really difference. You can give him time and he can pick anybody apart, I do believe. Last year, he played that one game behind a bad offensive line against a good defense. And all these people that somehow have rewritten their mind to say that they had nothing to play for. I guess the division and a home playoff game means nothing to the Cowboys because they keep losing them on the road.
You nailed it.
But, right. So the fact of the matter is he didn't seem to have much of a trouble reading the pressure on that in that game. He was able to move around inside the pocket, extend plays. He knew how to drift outside, or he knew how to slide up inside, behind that guard and that tackle when that lane splits out. And I'll tell you what, I think he put defenses, or the Cowboys defense, on their heels like that. So I'm hoping that I see more of that, even though the offensive line, Bieniemy, I guess he knows what he sees with that offensive line, but I'm thinking that he's figuring out ways to counter and to be able to at least try to do something to get away from it, move the pocket or something. So we lost Captain Hot. Where'd he go?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, John. As we said last week, it's about poise, isn't it? It's about having that poise in the pocket. Yeah. If he's showing me the right footwork, if he's got the intangibles, I don't want him to be an out-and-out world beater. That's not what we're after. We're after someone who can give us top 20 quarterback play. If you can get top 20 quarterback play this year, we all know that will convert to an extra 7 points as a minimum, which is going to win us games. And on the strength of this defense alone, which we're going to get onto, I'm sure, that will give us the opportunity to win more games. I know it's a tougher schedule, but you've got to go with what we have at the minute and say, well, if we look at last year, we probably threw away 4 games. If we look at it really, you could say the Browns is a definite throwaway. You could say the Vikings. You could say the Tennessee game, and then we probably got lucky in the Falcons and maybe threw away one of the New York games. So there's 4 extra wins straight away when you look at it that way. When you're going for 3 and you're not going for, and you've got that 7 points that you need, and if we can get Sam Howell, hold him upright, get him on his feet. He can also deliver with his feet, which is a good thing. He's got that mobile threat. He's not the out-and-out dual quarterback, but he lays the wood as well. You know what I mean? He's there to lay the wood. He's happy with what he's doing. I'm quite comfortable where we are with Sam Howell. I'm on the Sam Howell train. What I do want to hear is I want to hear the coaching staff say this is not a competition. I'm sick of this bullshit they're playing out there saying, oh, this is a competition. Look, every single first team rep snap has been with Sam Howell. Just say it's Sam Howell's job. What is it gonna? I mean, look at Kay Adams. Kay Adams
turned up at camp the other day. Confidence.
No, I know that, but Kay Adams turned up the other day at camp. Who's she interviewing? She's interviewing Sam Howell. She's got no interest at all of Jacoby, and unfortunately, Jacoby's doing his job as a pro, and he's getting paid well for doing what he's doing. But let's be honest here, it's Sam Howell's job to lose.
I got a question. All right, show of hands. How many people think he fucked Kay Adams?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That'd be great. He'd be howling. That'd be awesome.
While we're here, did anyone see the? Did anyone see?
Keeping it professional.
What? Yeah, right, true. Did anyone see the? Yeah, cheers, George.
This is what happens when you come on this show. It's on the show. It's a risk, George.
It's a risk.
It is.
There we go.
Yeah. Look at that.
That's a proper spotlighting right there. I love it. Perfect.
Did anyone see the tweet that she put out to Josh Taylor? By the way.
Oh yeah. That made his freaking day. That made his year, actually.
I got to say, he fumbled the bag big
that
time.
Porn stash, though. Josh shaved your porn stash.
All definitely. Right. So I do have a question that's not got anything to do with the offense or the defense, and I want to know anything about what's going on with this supposed kicker battle. We did bring in a veteran kicker, right, to work with Joey Sly. We're 9 days into camp. What's going on? Who's winning that battle? What's going on with that? Are they even going to bother until they get into preseason and then just alternate them, see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, from what I hear is this, at the end of practice, the special teams period of practice, they're going out there and they got 5 kicks. I think when the big crowd was there. I think it was on Saturday. Were you out there on that?
I went there Thursday, not Saturday.
Thursday. I know they were having the crowd,
10,000
get loud to try to distract them. But I mean, they've nailed it. I just don't see how Badgley's going to be able to win this job just because of his kickoffs. I mean, they only let him kick off 5 times last year, and he's just not very good. He just doesn't have the leg. And Joey Sly, he's got a boomer. I think he's I'm glad they brought in competition. I just know they're just going to stay with Sly, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Jesse, you nailed it, man. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought you nailed it, Jesse. Basically, I did some research on this. Joey Sly has like 17 or 18 field goals that are over 50 yards. He has a boomer, man. He can nail it. And I love that. I love that strength behind him. He actually was pretty accurate for Washington. Like throughout I think his career, he's an 80% field goal kicker, but like 84, 85 in Washington. The thing that he struggles with is extra points. It was like 3 or 4 extra points, which is ridiculous. But Jesse, you nailed it, man. I think it's actually funny. Like for their career, Sly is more accurate than Badgley, the money badger or whatever they call him. But I think it was good to kind of create competition to make sure that he wasn't feeling comfortable. Sly has a bigger leg. Sly has a kickoff aspect to his game. They don't want Tressway doing kickoffs. They don't want to put any more pressure on him. So just keep Sly. I think Sly is good enough. I mean, I think he's a perfectly average kicker. You can find better. I mean, Justin Tucker is ridiculous. You're not going to find as good as him, but we saw Chris Blewett and all those other guys that are completely awful. He's completely steady. Just keep putting pressure on him. I think it's just fine. I want someone with a big leg. And I think Sly's good enough.
Yeah, I like Sly has can kick under pressure, man. And make big kicks under pressure, and we've seen that. So I'd be totally. I know Scott doesn't like Sly really all that much, but
I'm not saying I don't like him. I just don't like the fact that he misses extra points. That's the thing that annoys me more than anything. Absolutely, he's got a big leg. You know what I mean? No problem at all. We can debate that till the cows come home. Badgley is not better than Sly at the moment, but I'm comfortable that they've brought a legitimate kicker in to give him a bit of competition. I think the previous guy who we had 2 kickers, didn't we, last year? I can't remember who the previous guy was, but he was absolutely no competition whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. So, I think Sly was the only guy last year. I don't think did they bring anybody in camp? I don't think they did in camp. But Sly was the only guy that they had last year because really, honestly, after the freaking run of kickers that we had the year before that, after they got rid of Justin Hopkins, Jesus Christ, they probably saw a guy that made 3 field goals in a row. My God, you are a savior. You are a savior. And you know what I always say when it comes to kickers? Look, if he hits the wall, man, there's a whole planet full of people that will play freaking soccer with a cantaloupe if you let them. All right, there's people out there that can kick. Send them in by the busload. All right, they're everywhere. Right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. Harry Kane's going to be an NFL kicker in about 4 years.
I would like Keith's take on the special teams.
Harry Kane is actually Keith's pseudonym. So, Keith, what do you think of the kickers?
Thanks for that beautiful insight.
We got the inflatable Keith to stand in for him today. I guess his Wi-Fi is being a bitch. I guess we can move on to the defense. Like I said before, man, the defense should be kicking the crap out of the offense a lot in practice. I am very concerned about how badly they're kicking the crap out of the offensive line. But at the same token, that is a premier defensive line. It really is. It should be or could be one of the best, if not the best in the offense. In the NFL. The 49ers can kick rocks.
I'll ask a question to George, if that's all right. But do you think now that we've seen the 5-1-5 formation out there, do you think that we go with that as a formation most of the time? Because that front package there with Phil Mathis, when you add him into it, is just it's incredible, really, with that 3 defensive tackle front.
It's going to be interesting. I think they're going to vary and move things around a lot, but the 5-1-5 it's going to be interesting, right? Because I do think Jamin Davis is going to get in trouble. I think there's going to be some issues, legal issues that go along with him. I think it would work for someone as mobile as him because he's mobile enough to play coverage, but without him, who are you going to put as that one spot? Cody Barton. I do think the strength of our defense is the defense. Our defensive line is fantastic, but I think it's 1 and 1A with our defensive backs. I think we have very multiple. I think Cam Curl's going to be playing more up in the box. Eric Forrest is going to be playing more of the free safety. Quan Martin, we haven't really seen him thrive yet, but I think he's a very cerebral player. He's going to be good, and Percy Butler's very strong as well. I think it is going to be pretty awesome to kind of see the dynamics for there, but I just don't think they're going to settle on one thing. I think it's going to be a week-to-week thing. It's going to be an opponent-based thing, like depending on who we go against. Again, there's going to be some times where we're going to play against some pretty run-heavy. Like the Eagles are pretty, they have a great offensive line. They have a great rushing attack. Jalen Hurts is a good mobile quarterback. Just having one linebacker out there. I mean, I don't know. It's concerning. You have to kind of match up with the offense. You can't just kind of like, this is our mojo for the rest of the year. I don't see it. Be very flexible all year long, I think.
I saw that interview with Cam Curl and Scott Abraham. I just saw his little Twitter thing that he put out there.
Yeah, that was kind of.
The one thing I got out of that is Cam Curl's playing for his money, man, and I think he's going to be highly motivated to go out there and do some things. I always say you can't really see anything from these 2-second clips that they put out there, but man, that interception he had the other day where he had to turn back against his body and pick that ball up was just outstanding. His instincts are fantastic, and I agree. I think our defensive backs, not just game to game, but freaking situation to situation, you can't figure out what we're going to do and who we're going to put in to do what, because they're so versatile. And I think they've got the potential to be one of the better units in the league. Our defense is really looking good. Thanks, Jamin Davis, for being a fucking complete goddamn knucklehead. Dude, thanks to your lawyer for pleading you out so that you can actually serve your jail time during the season.
Well, look, one thing we know for sure is you're not going to see them with 3 linebackers more than 10 plays the whole entire season. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
are they even going to have 3 linebackers?
That 4-2-5 is probably going to be your base defense, and then 5-1-5 will be for situational, like George was saying. They're going to flirt with that. They're going to game by game what's going to work, but you're rarely going to see the 3 linebackers set out there. And Cody Barton, I have all the faith in the world in Cody Barton. I think he's going to be a better Cole Holcomb. It's going to be like a Cole Holcomb, but I think he's going to be a little bit better. I think he's going to be a little bit better in coverage as well.
I hope so, because I was not a fan.
Do you address the elephant in the room then, guys, about Jamin Davis?
I want to hear Keith.
He's been going to the gym.
Let Keith touch on Jamin Davis and how smart that guy is.
Oh boy, Jamin Davis. Well, if we would have drafted Bijan Robinson, we wouldn't even have to worry about Jamin Davis whatsoever. The only thing I've heard about Jamin Davis is he decided to go on a little speed.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Speed racing down the road. Hey, look, we're all young. We all go outside.
None of us are.
Listen, we all go out and, we buy Lamborghinis and Ferraris and, head down the road. I mean, hell, I live on a main road. I sit outside every day yelling at the cars driving by. Easily going 45 and a 25, talking about you need to slow down or you can meet there, right? But no, seriously, all jokes aside, if we would have drafted Bijan Robinson, we wouldn't even be talking about Jamin Davis right now.
My favorite part about the Jamin,
who cares? Just leave him in jail. He can stay in jail for 9 months. We just don't care.
It gets some exercise in that yard, though, won't it?
Yeah. Go ahead. Listen, you make a dumbass mistake like that. All jokes aside, you do some stupid shit like that. Like, I don't care. You can say that someone's young, dumb, full of money. They got all this. Make a smarter decision. That was not a smart decision. And, by all means, whatever happens to the guy happens to the guy. Like, at the end of the day, right. At the end of the day, he deserves it. And on top of that, this team doesn't need any more negative publicity. Yeah. None whatsoever. We had a whole spring and summer without it. Bro, you had 2 seasons to do that.
Yeah.
Didn't we witness DeShazer Everett's accident? Isn't that
wild? Yeah, well, two things.
Because he was traumatized by it.
And that's what I was going to bring up. Like, did we not learn anything with that?
Exactly that.
When it's all said and done, like, man, take your punishment, deal with it how you have to deal with it. If football's here for you afterwards or whatever the case may be. I don't know what's going on with that. Like, is going to jail for how long or anything? Like, I'm just not on Twitter enough to care, to be honest. But I did read about that story. And, like I said, the bottom line is, like, have fun with whatever it is that you do. But
I
we don't need that nonsense on this team. Not when we're on the rise.
Yeah,
I was just going to say it's his second speeding ticket as well, so he didn't learn his lesson from his first time.
Yeah,
and then I thought what I thought was funny about the plea bargain is he has to write an essay about speeding. Now it's not a good thing. I would love to read that to see what the hell he's going to say in that article.
So yeah, I got
do some research and some quote some things. It's hilarious. I have no idea. It's funny.
I've got it here. So he was 80. He was charged at 89 and a 65 on December the 19th, 2021, which was reduced to an infraction. He paid a fine of $150, and this was 4 days before the Deshays Everett incident that happened. Then he's caught 28th of March 22, which is what he's been cited for here. 114 mile an hour in a 45 just after 1 p.m. I mean, do me a favor. What the fuck are you doing? Sorry for my language, but
and Virginia doesn't play.
Ridiculous.
That's reckless driving. They don't mess around in Virginia. Maryland's more flexible with that. Virginia will crush you if you're going over 20 miles per hour.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
you can kill somebody like that. And our good friend Peter Sidorn, by the way, hey man, what's going on? It's good to see you. That's crazy. It's suicidal. It's murderous practically. The slightest mistake, and somebody's going to die. Whether it's him or
you're hearing this from the University of Georgia. You got Henry Ruggs. You got what happened to the Shazer Everett, and you guys still aren't getting it. I mean,
young stupid.
Here's one for you, Jesse. Do you think, though, obviously he's going to get jail time now. The plea bargain agreement thing was 8 days is what he asked for. It was already suspended, $2,500 fine, 30 days suspended. So his minimum is 30 days is what
I think he's going to get. I think he's going to get at least 14 days. I think he's going to get.
I agree. Yeah. He's going to jail, no question about that.
But I mean, thinking about it further than that, though, do you think the NFL starts to get involved now because around speeding?
Yeah,
Hollywood Brown was today. I saw that come out saying he's been done.
This is just in the courts, man. The NFL, this violates the personal conduct, and if you think he's going to get away scot-free from the NFL, you got another thing coming because they're going.
But what I mean overall, Jesse, do you think it's time that the NFL took a longer and larger stance on this? Because we've just seen there, Hollywood Brown's the same. You talked about the Georgia incident. You've talked about like Henry Ruggs. Jamin Davis now. That's 4 straight off the bat that we can think of immediately that spring to mind. I think they need to start saying to these young kids
a larger role and be and I think this should be league wide. This goes to coaches and assistants or anybody that works for the NFL themselves. They got to take this serious, and not just players, because we hear about coaches, especially more on the college level, but still, you got your assistant coaches that get DUIs. You never hear you'll hear it come out, but you don't hear any really what happened afterwards. But I think the NFL needs to take a longer look into this and get involved and write that into the personal conduct. Be honest.
I would hope that they get involved after the next guy. And then I would hope that the judge would allow us to be able to play this out so that he can serve his jail time in like March.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But
I just don't
depends on your lawyer, doesn't it? Depends on your lawyer.
Well, his lawyer's been doing a great job so far. I mean, they were going to give him like 4 days in jail, and nope, now it's up to 8.
Well, yeah. I mean, the prosecutor they signed off on it. And the judge was like, second offense. No,
judge is a Cowboys fan.
It's not going to happen.
Appointed by Jerry Jones. Right? We're supposed to do that anytime there's a court case.
Speaking of which,
appointed the judge. Right. All right. So we were talking about the defense, and then we got sidetracked on Jamin Davis, who's going to play much of a part in it for a while, I think. Defensive line, we have no doubts, right? Is there any surprises on the defensive line? I noticed Casey Toohill is down 3rd on the depth chart, and I thought he played well enough last year to at least move up to number 2. I thought he played better than James Smith-Williams, frankly. But that's just
I don't think so. I think this defensive line is overall and will be the best in the NFL. I think Chase is going to have a big year. I really, really do. I think he's got his career ahead of him. I think he looks good. He looks fast. You don't see that stutter step that we used to see in years past. I think he's over that mental hump from his injury.
I mentally hump all the time.
I bet you do.
Every night.
I think you're going to see a big year from this defense, and like I said last week, I expect it to be one of the top 2 defenses between us and San Francisco. I would put money on us. Maybe I'm looking at this with burgundy colored glasses, but what we've done in the secondary, another year, the second year in the zone coverage scheme that we're running that worked out pretty well with us last year. You got Cam Curl just playing lights out in the secondary along with the younger guys. In Forbes, he's looking really, really good.
Good things
being covered. And St. Juice, man, I think he's probably having the best camp out of all of the secondary right now. So I expect big things from this defense this year.
Let me ask you this, George. You've been out to camp. You pay more of attention to it than I do. But from what I've seen, which, again, you can't tell much from these 3 or 4 second videos, but when I see them and Chase Young is lined up, he's lining up at the right defensive end position predominantly. Is this going to be a trend? Are we not going to do this stupid shit where we line him up where the quarterback can see him anymore? Are we going to put him where he belongs? Please tell me.
I love this. So basically, what I saw with Chase Young and Montez Sweat, they didn't really variate and go, flip from side to side. They were sitting in their stationary position. But like what I also liked about it is they were sitting up in a 2-point stance consistently, which I thought was pretty interesting. Like as opposed to their hand in the dirt, they're basically standing up and they drop back into coverage a couple of times. Obviously that happens, but Young's been disruptive. I like that he's getting upfield, and I agree with Jesse. I think he's going to be a pleasant surprise, and I think Chase he's a superstar. He's a superstar off the field. Like I want to see the superstar on the field. I want to see the play starting to develop. But I think he's intrigued by Magic Johnson coming here. I think he's intrigued with all the flash and the stadium and the benches that are being put in. I think he likes all that glamour and talking to Kay Adams. And I think there's a high probability that he's actually going to come back. So I do anticipate Chase Young having a good year. I've only been to one practice. I'm going to go to another one next week. I'll see if any other things change. But consistently, he was dominating. He was getting a jump on the offensive line. And he looked like the old Chase Young. So I anticipate a good start of the year.
That's fantastic. I'll tell you what, okay, show of hands. Do you think he fucked Kay Adams?
Jesus Christ.
Just checking.
Dude.
So,
Jesus.
I want to see him at right defensive end. It irks me to no end when I see all these people out there talking about how, he had a down year. And it's like, no, they put him in the wrong position. And, yeah, he had a down year. But when you put him over there at the right defensive end where the quarterback can't see him, that man can cause some serious effing mayhem. And I don't mind him dropping him back in coverage a little bit. Both him and Sweat are long arms, man, and they're very quick and athletic. They can cover those outside, those little linebacker things. Although, wasn't it Deshaun Watson that made him look so stupid last year?
Kind of, but I want to bite back on him having a quote unquote down year. Do we forget how disruptive he was? Even though he didn't get the sacks. This is before his injury. I mean, he was in the backfield almost every stinking play, and he was pretty daggone good in the run game. All right. I just people that say that he was a bust, that he just didn't play or stat watching, they don't see how disruptive this guy was. And that's why I have total faith in him having a freaking huge year. He's playing for a contract. And to be honest with you, we should all want,
of course,
Chase Young to get that contract over Montez Sweat, because Chase Young's ceiling is higher than Montez Sweat, in my opinion.
If we would have drafted Bijan Robinson, he'd have been making that whole defensive line look silly as hell right now. We'd be trashing them right now.
This is your brain on Bijan Robinson. All right. Look, Jonathan Allen seems to be like the Rock of Gibraltar. Everything you hear about him is there's nothing spectacular, except that it is steadily spectacular. You know what I mean? It's so good and it's so steady and consistent that you just expect it. And I really like that. That's what I'm coming with out of this camp so far from what I'm hearing about him.
I'm just impressed with the depth that we have at line as well. I mean, you've got Phil Mathis in there. You've got Ridgeway in there as well. I mean, this is a serious unit, whether we like it or not. I mean, honestly, in pairs, and if you look at defensive tackles, I've seen them ranked everywhere. Analysts talking about all sorts, saying, this one's fourth, Payne's fifth, so on and so on. if you take them two as a unit, they're the best unit in the entire NFL. There's no question about it. There is not a single team that I can look at and say, you have better defensive tackles than we do. Absolutely nowhere near.
Jeff might argue with you, but
nah, man,
I would agree.
And we haven't even touched on Forbes. I think Forbes is basically, Forbes is awesome. What I like about him, he's already pro ready, right? So we're hearing that he's getting his hands up there. He's disruptive. He's, he got an interception the other day, which was fantastic. But he just seems like he gets it, right? He gets spatial concepts. He gets dropping back in his zone. And I think he's going to be disruptive. I think he's going to be a factor this year. So if he can be somebody, and if Chase Young can be somebody, that's a addition that we didn't have last year. We even, a borderline starter elite cornerback, a borderline starter elite edge player added to our defense from last year, which will definitely elevate us, which I'm really excited about. So our defense could be really good. I'm excited about that.
And before we give it to George one last time, because he's got to go in a couple minutes, Quan Martin, we haven't heard a whole bunch about Quan Martin, but from listening to the likes of John Keim and Sam Fortier, they are liking what they see out of him because he's a very, very smart football player and expect him to have a big role in this defense as well. It was kind of an odd pick, seeing the two defensive backs with the first two rounds.
When they see a need, they go for it, though, don't they?
Yeah, sure. Listen, our secondary was hit and miss last year. Sometimes they played good, sometimes they played bad. What we did not have was turnovers. And I think, with the likes of Forbes and Quan Martin, both of those players they're playmakers, and that's what we need in the backfield. And that's they're both going to shore up this defense. And that's why I think we're going to have the number one defense or the number two defense in the entire league. Now, George, you got to go, but give us your thoughts overall. How you think this season is going to end up?
All right, so real quick before I get there, thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, we really appreciate
messing around. It's fantastic.
You made us talk football, dude.
I want to talk about Quan first before I talk about the entire team. So Quan's smart, man. I think Kendall Fuller kind of alluded to it. This might kind of make you guys shiver a little bit, but he is what Bobby McCain was supposed to be. He's basically going to play corners, going to play nickels, going to drop back into free safety as well. I think he's just slowly getting it, but he's a very cerebral player. And in Illinois, he was a captain. He was smart. He communicates very well. So I do see Quan Martin really being a great pick in the future. I think Jack Del Rio was looking at his chops to get Quan Martin on the team. I'm really excited about him. In regard to the team altogether, it's going to be interesting, man. I'm kind of, it's all about the offensive line. It's all about Eric Bieniemy. I think we're going to be, I know it's hard, like 8-9 win team. I don't think we're going to be, game wreckers, going to take over the league by any means. I think the whole season depends on a couple of the games, right? I think the Seattle Seahawks game, the Giants game. I think there's another one. I think the Falcons games. Those are the teams that we have to beat in order to make it to the playoffs, because we're going to be kind of scrambling in that wild card perspective. I think the Eagles are the clear division favorites in the division. The Cowboys might take a step back, and the Giants. They kind of maxed out last year. We'll see if they make another step.
Yeah, I don't believe in the Giants whatsoever.
No, but we can't beat them, and that's what aggravates.
That's frustrating. It does. It's frustrating as hell.
I got to recommend to you, George, though. Pick up an album if you're ever if you're looking on Amazon, something like that. Harry Sphincter.
Okay.
An album called "Fuck You, Daniel Jones" that I think you'll love.
Oh, that's a great track. That's awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. I know you got to go, and it's a shame because I know, Jesse, you said you had did you do a poll last week to find out if anybody wanted us to talk to the new worst owner in sports?
Yes, I
or did they want to talk to our friend Jerry?
And it came out that they like talking to Jerry.
All right, then. Well, let's pull out the old thing about it here.
All right, George. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Great time. Have a good time. See you guys.
See you week one, George.
Peace.
See you, George.
All right. Well, there you go. That's the one time that Keith said anything that didn't have anything to do with Bijan Robinson. Now, Bijan Robinson was here. Saying
well, Bijan Robinson's way better than George. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, let's see here. Let me go ahead and give people what they want.
Hello?
Oh, Jerry.
Oh, hang on. God dang it. Technical difficulties.
Fuck that up.
Well, shoot, boys, we done pulled back the fourth curtain there and let everybody see a little bit of the guts inside here where we're making the sausage. Speaking of making the sausage, my goodness, Keith, you look downright scrumptious. You know, I've never done anything that's been really necessarily expected to be called gay or trans or anything like whatever the kids are saying these days, but I might be tempted right now looking at those pecs of yours. Let me ask you this, son. Do you shave them? Right. He's going to make kissy faces. I see you here on the camera because I got myself one of these newfangled here laptop computers up here on my boat. Captain Pablo has got me plugged into the World Wide Web, and I can see you there. I tell you what there, Scotty, I am coming up on the west coast of Africa here soon, and if you'd like, I can shell the I got a gun on deck now. I can go ahead and shell your hotel and let you know I'm there. My God, what happened to your face, man? Did you get in a fight with an octopus or something?
it's just extremely hot, and when you're fair-haired and fat like me, it's not very good, Jerry. I'll give you that.
I don't know what the hell fair-haired is. That sounds to me like the names of one of those Muslim guys. Anyway, you boys called me up. You must have wanted something. Now listen, my peyote is about to kick in.
Yeah, we got just a real quick question about Jim Irsay and his kind of antics with his running back Jonathan Taylor, and instead of paying him, he went and paid for Shamu to get moved to the open ocean. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I tell you, he loved that movie Free Willy. All right. The fact of the matter is, though, that when Jim Irsay first went to the theater to see Free Willy, he thought it was a porn movie, and he thought people were going to pull it down their zippers. He saw the children in the theater, and he kind of freaked out a little bit. They had to call in the police and remove him. They covered it all up. Roger Goodell did his job. The fact of the matter is, Bob Irsay is a drug-addled, stupid, drunken, really basically half-inbred boy. And there's really not much he's going to do to make any kind of sense whatsoever. I will offer him an opportunity to learn from the mistakes of some other fellas here in the league and say, hey, if you don't want that Jonathan Taylor, I do know that there's an Ezekiel Elliott out there that's on the free open market that took a hell of a lot of my goddamn money. And I think maybe he learned the lesson. So I'd say maybe this. Jimmy Irsay is above the curve. I was stupid. I paid Zeke, and now I done gave a goddamn running back that got himself hurt in January a franchise tag. I try to deny how old I am, but sometimes it's just painfully obvious.
That's right. Now, listen, one more question for you on the topic, Keith's favorite topic, and Bijan Robinson. How do you think he's going to do in Atlanta?
Well, I'll tell you something. Atlanta is one of those places where football players.
Jerry, let me interrupt.
Yes.
Let me interrupt. I can answer
Go
that
ahead.
question. He's gonna
Flex him up there. Interruption.
You might as well, Jerry. You might as well just go ahead and give that man a Hall of Fame jacket right now, because that's the way his career is going to be. He's going to be the most explosive running back in NFL history.
In NFL history. Now that says a lot, because that goes way back to the times of like Booger Magoo. He was faster around the end than anybody else. And I got to tell you, I got down into
I don't know if Keith knows who Booger Magoo is.
Booger Magoo? Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
He was a half.
You sound like that guy, John, Jerry.
Huh? I sound like
you sound like that guy, John. That guy, John, that you talked to.
Put two goddamn nickels together if you gave him a dime and said, this is what it makes. Listen, I found an island down outside the South Pacific. It's kind of like one of those.
Wait, does this have to do with Booger Magoo?
No, it does not. It has to do with a whole bunch of boys that are down there look just like you. They spend all day on the beach oiling each other up. I must say, it's a place that you might enjoy to travel to. It's not called Sandals. It's called Birkenstocks, but that's actually on the other side of the aisle. They call that Hairy Beach.
Oh, geez. Well, John,
as
always, Jerry, as always, we appreciate you joining us.
Well, I certainly do appreciate y'all calling me right before my peyote kicked in, because let me tell you something. If it did when you called after that, I don't know who I'd think I'd be talking to, and I would not take any responsibility for what I might have said. Just somebody, please, tell me I got a quarterback somewhere on the horizon that can win me a goddamn football game.
I know, Dak's looking pretty rough.
Jerry, just before you go, Jerry, do you? I've got some UK friends who listen to this podcast. Do you have a code that they can put in at cowboyshop.com at all?
Why, certainly. You can put in the code DENTIST and get yourself 20% off on a Zeke Elliott t-shirt. You can get yourself all dolled up to be running down around into Piccadilly Circus or wherever it is you boys go for your fun. I'll tell you something. What the hell is a Piccadilly? That's what I want to know. Down where I come from, a Piccadilly is something that the country boys do with the pig, and that's not really something that you want to have a circus about. Let me tell you, that sounds pretty filthy to me. All right, my peyote's definitely kicking in. All right, Jared, Jesus, Jared out. Holy shit. I mean, God damn.
Yo, you guys see Andy Burrows in here watching us from Spain? Dude, get the fuck out of here. Go enjoy your vacation. What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
I'm on my vacation too, and I'm on with you three.
What the fuck are you doing here? Get out of here. You're on you're on holiday, not vacation. First of all, don't steal our
I have a holiday, yeah. Oh, come on. We invented the language. You just stole it. So don't give me that shit.
John, you're on mute.
I said, oi, we didn't steal
I
the
see
language.
the show is still. I see that it doesn't matter how long I've been gone. This show is still a shit show no matter what.
Always will.
Just listen to the last
we're proud
45
of
minutes
that.
before George left. My God, we actually.
And that new browser is working for you, Keith. I'm just letting you know.
No, listen, it's because I'm closer to the wife. For some reason, man, my back room because I cut cable too, by the way. Not that anyone cares. But my back room is experiencing the same issues, that TV, connecting to Wi-Fi. I don't know what else to do, man. I don't know what else.
Whatever you're doing right now, it's fucking working.
Well, yeah, sitting right next to the Wi-Fi receiver. It's literally up my ass at this point.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that island Jerry was talking about. All right, so week one's coming up. You guys are coming over. Hello, Andy, up from Spain. We got Scott from the Canary Island. He's the
new guy. Andy, get the fuck out of here, bro.
So here's an
how many holidays does this guy go on? Like, this guy's
a million.
In Spain.
Looks like
he just recently took a vacation.
He's making money,
and
with
then
his
he's
podcast.
coming to the U.S., which we really don't even want him over here. But he's going to watch a Commanders game. Like, how much money does this guy make? Like, you UK and you UK guys
paid by the bottle.
And
also, he probably makes out really well.
It is shirts on in the Airbnb, Keith. Just letting you know.
So here's what we got. Here's what we got.
Shirts on, not off. Shirts on, not off.
My wife
can
just
do what he wants.
1983.
All right, so there's our opponent upcoming for week one. I'm sure.
I saw that today. I started laughing. I was like, maybe we don't look so bad.
I didn't even know.
Maybe we didn't.
1983.
Now that's Colt McCoy throwing that ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to be starting against us come week one. Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
If we lose to Colt fucking McCoy on week one, I am going to, I'm not going to say what I'm going to do. There's going to be some toxic waste from a human being that goes through the mail to our new ownership. We better not lose to that shit ass team.
1983.
What I like afterwards is the little linebacker that thinks, hey, it bounced off his head. That's a fumble. It comes charging up on the ball. All right. Well, anybody got anything left that they want to talk about in terms of the Commanders?
Yes, I do.
Else? Yes, please go ahead.
Everybody out there, to our thousands and thousands of listeners, the Redskins' name are not coming back. It's not coming back.
No,
you can have a petition of 500 billion signatures on it. It will not come back. You guys are wasting energy. I love the enthusiasm, but the energy is being wasted. It's all about money. It was the name was changed because of money.
Yeah. No kidding.
Not because any group of people.
Feelings never change anything.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, you just as much as I miss the name and love the name,
old man into this lean machine we see.
Yeah, and as much as I would love to have it back, I've come to grips with reality, and it's just not coming back. Why would this ownership, with all the goodwill that they have gotten with buying this team, why would they change the name back and just lose sponsorships?
Genuine question though. Do you think we do actually in the next, say, 3 to 5 years, will we change the name again?
Possibly. I think it's a 50-50 shot. I don't think they should. Right. I don't think they should. But I tell you what, in the next 2 years, if we start winning, they're not going to matter.
It's not going to matter. I forgot the fuck I was going to say. That's what happens when you get old. Happens a lot, doesn't it? Shit.
The Redskins aren't coming back.
No, the Redskins.
No, that's gone.
Come to reality.
Doesn't mean you can't remember them, and doesn't mean you can't say it. Yeah. Doesn't make you a racist because you talk about watching the Redskins. And the fact of the matter is, you people that say that this was just a name that Dan Snyder crammed down our throats, for one, grow the fuck up. Who the hell do you think you are that they should ask you? And then number two, you didn't have any say in what the Redskins name was either. You just kind of glommed onto it. Right? So,
And Dan Snyder wasn't really the person who picked the name. They just signed off on the motherfucker.
Yeah. So there's a huge misconception. I think people are using that as an excuse, but there's a reason why Jason Wright and them paid for Code and Theory. They're the ones that actually sat and did the focus groups and had all these discussions and listen, I think Dan knew he was on his way out the door at this point. It was just a matter of getting everything legally together to make the sale eventually come into play and actually happen. Look, this guy, at the end of the day, he was a huge fan of the team. Sadly, for us fans, he was a fan of the team. And, look, if it wasn't going to be Redskins, do you really think this guy cared what the name was? He didn't. He didn't just change his mind out of nowhere to sell this team. This has been in his mindset. No choice. Right. He knew that this was coming. It was going to happen. Things legally take forever. And at the end of the day, he just signed the paper and said, I don't really care.
The fact of the matter is, nobody forced him. And the NFL didn't force him to do this. What happened? What forced him to do this is his own shit business.
Correct.
His own shit. He ran a top franchise into the dirt. He somehow lost money with a fucking theme park with roller coasters that's 5 minutes away from a major city.
Yeah.
Well, him not paying
the sense of my shoe.
Him not paying his minority sponsors, they came back after him, and corporate sponsors started pulling out once the George Floyd situation was happening. We all know this song and dance. So now you fast forward to today. All new ownership did at this point was breed the ideology that we could potentially change the name from Commanders to something else. But here's the deal with that. And my take is it's not going to go back to Redskins. Nope. It never will. Nope. Right. I think we all, the four of us, can agree with that. So at this point, if it can't be that, I don't really care what the name is. Because
we found out. We're all right with this now. I mean, you get used to things. We got used to
and that's what I'm saying. And that's my point. I have no tie to Commanders, and I'll have no tie if they changed it to Wolves, Red Wolves, Hairy Ball Sacks. It doesn't matter. I have no tie. I have no ties to it at all. So particularly, I just enjoy to watch the football at this point, and I leave all the political and personal stuff out of it.
Obviously, you're not playing jerseys.
I mean, it is what it is. And so
can't cover
that.
I
look at it like this. It's just go enjoy life, man. Go enjoy football. Don't put so much stock into a team name. And hopefully later on down the road, my kid will continue to be a fan. When I'm long gone from this earth, if he chooses to remain a fan, he's going to be a Commanders fan, and it is what it is. But this nonsense of going and potentially changing the name again, I can tell you, everybody living where I live, we all know I live around Eagles fans. And the running joke every time people see me is, what's the team going to change the name? he's a Commander.
What's the team's name this week?
This week. But what's going to be
what the
next
answer
week?
is?
So
That's the
listen.
answer.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
So
up.
listen, just and it's a running joke. Like at the end of the day, let's just keep it where it's at and keep it moving, whether you like the name or not. Because in the end, we start winning and becoming a respectable organization, which it looks like with new ownership, we can very well much be on that ride to success. Then we're all not going to care about Commanders.
Yeah,
and again,
exactly.
I have to be honest with myself at this age and say, back in the 30s, if you gave me the option Redskins, would that be a name that I would choose if you were letting fans choose? Probably not. So I wouldn't have been in love with that name, and I wouldn't be in love with the Commander's name today. So what difference does it make, right?
Yeah,
Truthfully, we all just love football. And that's kind of the way that I see it at this point. I have no ties to the DMV. I don't care. I just love football. So name the team whatever you want. I'm just there to watch football.
Show of hands. How many people think that Keith is going to become one of these body painters at the game this year? How many people think Keith is going to just show
have
up
burgundy and gold and then mix the
all
nipples?
red, everything burgundy on his chest and stand out there in the cold?
No, Keith's
loads of chains with a big W.
100% correct. I mean, like I said last week, all three of y'all know how much I hated the name Commanders.
Could redo the logo.
I've accepted it now.
Yeah.
Hell, my stupid ass, dork ass, got Commander's fucking license plate on my fucking car right now because I'm a dork and I love this team. But it's Washington that I love. It's DC that I love. It's my second home, and it's just it's fine. I'm fine with it. Do I like the name? Not really. I still think it kind of sucks.
It doesn't matter.
It's a mouthful, right? But guess what? I've accepted.
They all suck.
Yeah. I mean,
all the names suck. There was not one name where all of us could sit down and agree, like,
and
that's a banging ass name.
There never will be.
Well,
the fact of the matter is, what's kind of cracking me up is that this reminiscence of Washington football team. And you remember how many people hated that? Oh my God, we didn't even have a name, they thought. And now everybody's like, I'd be okay if they just changed it back to that. And for me, if you just change it back to Washington football and leave it at that, not put team on it, just put football. Team is fucking implied.
Just call it the Burgundy and gold.
I'm good with that, Burgundy and gold. But then you'll have these assholes that are on Twitter that'll sit there and go, but it's not actually gold, is it? It's really more kind of.
It actually is a gold because there's different colors there's different shades of gold. That's why people don't realize that.
People get fucking stupid on the internet. I've been on a running battle.
If we're being honest, it's burgundy and yellow, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
see what I mean? There you go.
Not really.
It's actually like maroon. It used to be maroon and yellow.
No, this is nowhere near maroon.
Y'all natives went ahead and changed it to burgundy and gold, which doesn't make sense.
Teams change the shade of their colors all the time. They change the shade of colors all the fucking time. It happens. I mean, look, the Eagles are bringing back that ugly. I don't know why everybody thinks this
Kelly Green thing.
That Kelly Green that looks like the shit that I took last night.
Love the Kelly Green.
Fucking,
my wife doesn't though.
It's like booger color. It's gross.
Well, if you have boogers that color, you should go to the doctor. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I had some bad lettuce.
Something like that. It's the Seahawks green that drives me up so absolutely fuck up a wall. I can't stand that. But, I think that for all these people that were talking about worried about, they're going to change the colors. When we were changing the name, they're not going to change these colors. Nobody else has these colors. Yeah, and if you want to call it yellow, I would just question your eyeballs. It's burgundy and gold, whether we like it or not. That's what we are. And I agree with Scott. If we just called ourselves the burgundy and gold, I'd be thrilled. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So anyway, training camp week 2 is in the books. We had a good discussion about football today. We got to see Keith's pectorals. That's nice. Keith, which way is the gym?
Is it this way or that way?
He's stuck again. There it is. It's that way.
It might be that way. Might be this way.
It's that way.
It could be that way.
Triceps. Poor David Botta. Got himself. He's gone for the year.
He's done. I mean, that might be him actually done for football totally. So, I mean, fair play to the guy from Munich, Germany. Did the international pathway. I got a bit of more love for him because I got to see his journey from the start when he didn't make it first time round, and then went back second time round, and then we picked him.
One thing they do hold that because he's a pathway player, they do hold that roster spot. And another thing that because we were talking about, George was talking about the 10 offensive linemen. They actually are letting you keep an 11th offensive lineman on game days stashed on your roster. So
I don't know why they can't let you just keep all 53 of your guys on your
it doesn't make sense
on the side.
Can you just clarify something for me, because you guys are knowledgeable? This whole thing about addressing a third quarterback, do you have to have that third quarterback within the 53-man roster to enable them to be dressed on game day? Or is it just a totally separate rule?
No, it has to be within the 53, because most teams do carry 50 or 3 quarterbacks. Most of them do. But it won't count. It won't count against the 45 on the active roster.
On game day, right? Okay. Yeah. So we couldn't just say, "Hey, Jake Fromm, you're on the practice squad today. You're going to get called up."
And that's the same rule that goes with the offensive lineman. I believe it doesn't count against the 45, but it does count against the 53. They won't get a game check unless they play, but they're still dressing.
So they have to be an active player, basically, yeah?
Yes. As I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Okay. Cheers, Jesse.
I just wanted to point out that Andy Burroughs, speaker of the King's English, who they invented, can't spell the word thought. So anyway, just wanted to just show you that at the beginning of this sentence there. But yeah,
at first I saw I threw P. What?
Poor Pee Wee Herman. I'll tell you what. You know what? Dude, I'll tell you what. You go on YouTube and look up some of his old appearances on David Letterman. And Letterman just let him do whatever the hell he wanted. Oh my God, you'll laugh your head off. He was funnier than shit. All right. Well, I think I'm done for the day. Are you done for the day, Scott?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, and you've been sweating your ass off. There's no air conditioning.
Yeah, I am hotter than a pork chop in a synagogue. That is absolutely certain.
I got to tell you, between you and Keith, I've had a freaking chubby all game over the entire Jesus
Christ. Semi-on, love it.
All right, so Jesse, you got anything left?
Nope.
All right, he's spent. Keith, how about you? You got any more oil to rub on us?
I don't, but my pecs do.
He's got his kids behind him.
I haven't mastered the pec bounce yet, but I'm getting there.
Well, Master Pec Bounce, I guess we will see everybody next Friday, and hope we will watch Keith once again try to stimulate him. So until then, I'm all sure. Burgundy podcast.
Oh, get out of here, Jesse. You want to have a peck off? Let's do this, buddy.
We got a peck off.
Peck off. Love that island.